So guys, because of some sudden internet issue, this that the last link got deleted. So don't worry, I will restart it once again. So we are talking about Anglo-Saxon literature. We are talking about Anglo-Saxon special lecture part 2. The first lecture got deleted because of internet issues. It was some trouble, some interruption. I hope you are back to the second live class. So let's talk about this. So till now we have talked about Anglo-Saxons special King Arthur series reference. We have talked about King Arthur. We have talked about that King Arthur was in search of Holy Grail, and Holy Grail is something most pious thing on earth. What is Holy Grail? Holy Grail is a pot where the blood of Jesus Christ was collected. But according to Christianity, according to Bible, it is said that Holy Grail is the blood of the last wine. The last wine, it was taken in the mug. That mug is Holy Grail. It's the most purest thing. But then we have a reference of Dr. Faustus, where Faustus is actually looking for the blood of Jesus Christ to be purified. He says, "Come, come, hells, fall on me. Hide me from the wrath of Mephistopheles. A drop of blood, even a half drop of blood would save my life." So technically, we know that this guy, King Arthur, he is in search of Holy Grail. The Holy Grail is the most pious thing. I told you that Tiresias, the famous fortune teller, Tiresias, tells Arthur to go for center of the earth. Center of the earth is the place where Holy Grail is situated. It's placed. So Tiresias tells King Arthur that to find out Holy Grail, go to the center of the earth. You will find it there. Now King Arthur undertakes a journey to find out Holy Grail. In his journey, he comes across many people, many stories, many problems. Suppose he goes to your city, he finds out the problem of your city, he solves it. So technically, all these random stories by King Arthur, the random stories by King Arthur, written by multiple writers, random stories dealing with King Arthur, are famously called Arthurian cycle. Famously called Arthurian cycle. So these random stories written by multiple writers. So there is no guarantee that who has written Arthurian legend stories, Arthurian legends. Nobody knows it. But yes, for thousands of years, because we know the timing of Anglo-Saxon, it took around 1000 years. So there were writers writing about the story of King Arthur. Anybody could write. Even you want to write, take Arthur as a reference, write the story. That story will become the part of Arthurian cycle. See, now I give you one reference, as you know that I have a habit of giving reference. One man, the first person to compile all the Arthurian legends in a proper ordered way was Thomas Mallory. He wrote Morte d'Arthur. Very important story. Morte d'Arthur is actually Death of Arthur. So Death of Arthur, Morte d'Arthur, written by this man Thomas Mallory. And remember this thing, that he is the one who took all the randomly written stories of Anglo-Saxon and compiled these things together. The publication was there in 1485. I'm sure you all know that printing press came to England in 1476. Printing press helped people to publish their books. And if you are my online students, you must be knowing the special point that from 1476 to 1500, the first books which were published in this particular duration, these books are called incunabula. Question of net exam. Incunabula. Incunabula. Incunabula are the books which were published in the first 25 years after printing press, from 1476 to 1500. So technically, Morte d'Arthur is one of the finest example of incunabula. Incunabula means the books which were published in first 25 years. You feel question paper in net exam is very tough. How it becomes tough? They simply ask you one question. They will give you Morte d'Arthur, they will give you Praise of Folly, they will give you Utopia, they will give you one more book. They will simply ask you, pick the one which can be included as incunabula, or pick the book which is not in incunabula. So all the students who are coming from state backgrounds, simple rustic village background, just like me, I came from village background. We are never taught about these things. Nobody teaches us these things. So obviously, I tell you, 90% of you have never heard about this incunabula. It's a question of net exam. So that's the reason most of the people, they are not able to qualify net, and that's really painful. So I told you one reference, Thomas Melry. Now I tell you another important question which has been asked in net exam. A teacher should, talk about exam reference also. So I tell you one important point. What happens when King Arthur returns with Holy Grail? There is one person called Mordred. Mordred was cousin of Sir Gawain. Now if you remember, who is Sir Gawain? I tell you, Sir Gawain is one of the 12 knights. ये 12 जो इसके courtiers थे, 12 knights. And who are these 12 knights? These 12 knights are called Round Table. All the students who have joined the lecture today, new students, you must be thinking, who is Round Table? Round Table was the group of 12 knights, and these 12 knights were very good people representing 12 different virtues, 12 different qualities. I'm sorry, miss ho gaya. This pen is new, so it's slipping. 12 virtues. So these people were representing 12 qualities. So Sir Gawain is one of this. Has a quality, has a virtue. Now what happens? Mordred hates Arthur. Mordred doesn't like Arthur. Mordred was cousin of Sir Gawain. Mordred wants to take revenge from Arthur, and what does he do? Arthur's wife, Guinevere. All the students should write it. Make sure you write it, friends. I know nobody teaches you like this, so please write all these points. Don't miss this point, okay? So Arthur's wife, Guinevere, and Arthur's another round table boy, Lancelot, very close to King Arthur, one of the best friend of King Arthur. Mordred arranges an affair between these two. Eventually, he arranges meetings, he gives Guinevere something from his side, he gives her from her side. In short, he creates a confusion that they both are in love with each other. They actually fall in love with each other. So technically, Guinevere is deceiving her husband Arthur. When Arthur gets to know, when Arthur returns, he finds it out that he has been deceived by his own wife. Arthur goes to fight Lancelot. So what does happen? Arthur and Lancelot, they go for a fight. दोस्तों notes बना लेना. I know आपको ये किसी ने नहीं पढ़ा है. Arthur and Lancelot, they go for a fight. Okay. It was a system in ancient timing that if there is one girl and two boys claiming that girl, so it was mostly decided by power. The girl had no choice. They never questioned that, let the girl choose. There was no feminism. Technically, the girl should decide. But no, these boys would draw the swords, then they would fight. Sometimes they both died, sometimes one survived. So Lancelot and Arthur fight for Guinevere. Arthur is badly injured. He is badly injured. And when he is badly injured, Mordred also comes to fight, to take revenge. Mordred is the main villain. Mordred comes to fight in Arthur. But Arthur, as he knows that Mordred is brother of Sir Gawain, Arthur doesn't fight Mordred in a proper capacity. मतलब Arthur क्या करता है? Arthur doesn't find Mordred in a way he could kill. So they both fight where Arthur and Mordred, they both die. They both die. दोनों मर जाते हैं. They both get mortally wounded. दोनों को चोट लग जाती है. But it is said that Arthur was capable of killing Mordred. But Arthur was holding his punches. Arthur thought that maybe he is fighting for no reasons. Arthur didn't know that he is the main conspirator. So technically, he didn't try to kill, but eventually he got killed. So the question in net exam, yes, there was a question in net exam. Who killed King Arthur? Mordred. Mordred killed King Arthur. This should be mugged up. You should not miss it. This is a very important point. Who kills Arthur? Mordred kills Arthur. Now we go for the other stories of Anglo-Saxons. As we have talked about this thing that Anglo-Saxon romances were mostly written in alliterative form, alliterative style and loose couplets, alliterative verse form, or sometimes used decasyllabic style, double syllabic style. Simply remember this thing that even the style were loose. What is alliteration? We all know when the sounds are repeated again and again. Okay, so assonance is when we go for the vowels and alliteration is when we go for the consonant sounds. O wild west wind, W W W, it's alliterative thing. And if you go for something where the vowels are repeated, ashiki mein teri, ashiki mein teri, it's assonance. I'm so sorry I gave you Bollywood example, but I'm sure you would love it. So if you understand it, because you know Einstein said, if you understand something, you will find out the easiest way to explain. So next time somebody questions you what is assonance, just say ashiki mein teri. Okay, and please tell them that Vinisa has taught us. Now let's get back to the other famous examples for the famous books of this particular age. Here we have an epic, Beowulf, the oldest surviving epic. सबसे पुराना epic, oldest surviving epic. What happens here in the ancient time where Beowulf, a person, he was a mercenary. What is mercenary? A soldier who fights for money, not for patriotism. So he was a brave man. He believed that he's a strong man. So he would solve the problems of people and he would take gifts in between. So Beowulf gets to know that there is a king, King Hrothgar, Hrothgar, King Hrothgar. His kingdom is troubled because of a demon. एक यहाँ पे राक्षस है. The name of the demon is Grendel. So Beowulf is invited by this king Hrothgar, and Hrothgar invites Beowulf to fight Grendel. Grendel कौन है? Who is Grendel? Question of net exam. What is the name of the villain in Beowulf? Demon का नाम Grendel. Don't forget it. So he has invited to fight him and to save his people. When Beowulf comes to fight and he starts questioning about the demon, he is told that whenever they do party, they do sound making, noise making, Grendel comes. So this guy, Beowulf, he says that let's go for party, let's beat drums, invite this demon. So they go for a party and the demon comes. See, this guy, Beowulf, and Grendel, there's a difference. He's a demon 12 times bigger than him. He's a giant, a big size giant. Beowulf has to fight the demon, and demon is 12 times bigger than him. He comes and starts killing people. So king says that go fight, save us. But you know what happens? Beowulf throws his sword. Beowulf अपनी तलवार फेंक देता है. क्यों फेंक देता है? Why? Why he throws his sword? आप बोलो सर डर गया होगा. You must be thinking सर डर गया होगा. 12 गुना बड़ा. No. Beowulf stands for ideal chivalry, a true warrior. So Beowulf doesn't say that he's 12 times bigger. He says that Grendel doesn't have any weapon. So if Grendel doesn't have weapon, I will also throw my sword. And then he goes for hand-to-hand fight. Hand-to-hand combat शुरू होता है, जहाँ पे he is able to do some injury to Grendel. Then he chases Grendel, kills him. After killing, his chivalry, his bravery, his dedication is so much good that King Hrothgar realizes that Beowulf deserves to be the king of that place. Hrothgar commits suicide and asks Beowulf to be the next king. Beowulf becomes the king of that particular place. उसका भी कोई नाम है अजीब सा, but you don't have to read that much. Now, Beowulf becomes the king there because of his bravery. He has been rewarded. The king gave his throne to him. After some years, a dragon comes, and the dragon starts killing everyone. Now Beowulf has to fight the dragon. So the dragon is there. He has to be killed. During fight, one scene comes where Beowulf has been taken like this in the custody of dragon. The dragon has actually captured Beowulf, and there is no other way to kill the dragon. What does Beowulf do? Beowulf has a spear, like bhala, and Beowulf stabs himself. He stabs himself so that the spear would cross his heart and then would penetrate the dragon's heart. So dragon has captured him like this. So technically, Beowulf sacrificed his life to kill the dragon and to save his people. So the oldest surviving epic, it has story about ideal chivalry, talks about bravery, and Beowulf no doubt is a superstar. But yes, if we say who has written it, there is no surety about the writer. Nobody knows about these kind of writers. Second thing we have King Ethelbert. 99% students have never heard about him. King Ethelbert has been mentioned in Bede's famous book, Historia Ecclesiastica. As a third king. King Ethelbert is the first person to promulgate the code of conduct, first constitution, the first law book. King Ethelbert was the person who came with rules and regulations. Technically, the first rule book, the first book dealing with law. King Ethelbert, he was the one who promulgated the code of conduct. So make sure you remember that. I know आपको ये कोई नहीं पढ़ाता होगा. Don't forget these points. If you want to be a double JRF like me, go for these things. King Ethelbert, the one who promulgated the code of conduct, the first law book. And how he has been mentioned? Bede, the another great writer from Anglo sections, in Historia Ecclesiastica, Ecclesiastical History of England, he talks about these things. Then we have some other writers. I'll also tell you some points. We have Cadman. His songs, his hymns are very much famous. His English songs, his hymns are very much important. But please remember, you will say, sir, was there any English language? The oldest form of English language, not pure English, the Anglo style language. Then, along with these people, we have Geoffrey of Monmouth. I'll rub it. Then we have Geoffrey of Monmouth. He has written Historia Regum Britannia. Historia Regum Britannia. Historia Regum Britannia. So, and apart from these writers, we also have King Alfred. King Alfred from Wessex. They may ask you that King Alfred was the king of Wessex. He has also written poetry, songs. So technically these are the writers who are writing, who are experimenting. But the question is that most of the Anglo-Saxon writers, either they don't have a book with their recognition, with their names, or the writers are not there. If we know the books, we don't know the writer. If we know the writers, we don't know the books. So I'll be telling you some important works which were written during Anglo-Saxon times and are important. For example, the most important poetry which has been asked in net exam. Dream of the Rood. Question in net exam, what do you mean by rood? The cross where Jesus Christ was hanged, crucified. So the wooden structure, the structure like this, where Jesus Christ was crucified is rood. It's a dream narration. It's a dream allegory. Please remember this point, that writing dream allegory was a pattern in Anglo-Saxon, Chaucer and medieval literature. Dream allegories means they are watching a dream and the story comes in the dream. So dream allegory is an allegory, but when it starts as the writer is watching a dream. Writer जो है dream देख रहा है. So in the dream he finds that Rood says, I have become Christ. Because I have a wooden structure, I was used to kill him, his blood is on me, so I am also the part of Christ, and he says that I found my identity with Christ. A philosophical poem, very good poem. Then we know the Owl and Neptingle, another poetry, we don't know about the writers. The Owl and Neptingle, this fisal like काफी. This is new pen, it's a new pen, so it's actually slipping. The Owl and the Nightingale is the first example of debate poetry. Debate poetry. Owl and Nightingale, they have a debate that who is better, who is superior, who has a better voice. So it's the first example of debate poetry. But the question comes, do we know the writer about Dream of the Root? No. Do we know the writer about the Owl and the Nightingale? No. Both of these poetries have been asked in that exam. ये paper में आ चुका है. They can ask you again, giving you these 4-5 names. They will simply say, pick the one which is the one of the oldest example of debate poetry. Pick the one which is the oldest example of Christian philosophy. So these are the options you have. Then we have some other famous works. Pearl. Pearl is one of most important poetry, plus 40,000 lines. 40,000 से ज़्यादा lines हैं. Nobody knows about the writer, so technically Pearl's writer is called Pearl poet. Then we have Widsith. Then we have Seafarer. Robin Hood. Chevy Chase. Nut Brown's Maid. These are some very good poetries which are written, but again there is no surety about the writers. Nobody knows about their writers. So technically these are kind of jewels, but most of the connections with writers are not properly maintained. So we know about these books, but we don't know about writer. And here, my friends, Vineet Pandey style, I will tell you most important fact. A famous writer in 1759 wrote all these books compiled together and wrote as relics. These poetries were published as relics, also called Thomas Percy's relics. Thomas Percy's relics. All these Anglo-Saxon poetries which didn't have any authorization, no author claimings, they were all separately republished once again in the collection called relics. Very important point. John Donne has also written a poetry called Relic. Now, as you have written a lot of these things, I am also going to tell you some important points which we teach in online classes and teach in offline classes. Just hold on. So, I am going to make you write some points, as yesterday I received some messages that, sir, can you please make us write some important points? So, this is the booklet of Anglo-Saxons. We share it with online classes and offline classes. I am sharing some important points for all of you. The very first thing that you have to write down. Please write down Beowulf and write this point. Those who already have this material, you have everything. Jinke paas hai, you don't have to write. The new students can simply write it. The first thing, oldest poem in English language. So Beowulf is oldest poem in English language. That's the first point. Let's make this lecture very much fruitful for you, right? So आपके लिए है oldest poem in English language. Oldest poem in English language. Please write it. Second thing you have to write. It has around 3,000 plus lines. Okay. Then the oldest surviving epic in English language. It's Old English, Ancient English, Anglo English. Okay. So it is also the oldest surviving epic in English. Then go for next point. We have a writer Caedmon. I told you, Caedmon, his songs, his hymns. We have this Caedmon. So write about this guy, Caedmon. First known religious poet of England. So he is called first known religious poet of England. These questions can be asked in that exam. So first known religious poet of England. He is known as the father of English songs. Who is known as the father of English songs? Caedmon. Then you have to go for his famous work, the song, the Hymn of Praise. The Hymn of Praise is his famous song. The Hymn of Praise. It is said that goddess came in his dream and goddess asked him to sing. So with the permission of goddess, he started singing. He sung this song, the Hymn of Praise. Very important. And how he wrote it? The goddess came in the dream and goddess asked him to sing. Remember this point. The next one. Next writer we have Beowulf, mostly known as a minor writer. It is also said that there is no confirmation about his books. I'll be telling you about some poetries, but also said that there is no confirmation about his books. So in Beowulf we have Christ, Juliana, Elaine, the Fates of Apostle, but please write only Christ. No need to go for all. Just Christ. Christ, a long poetry by him, because again I'm telling you there is no surety whether he wrote it or not. So Christ is the most important and didactic poem. It has messages, preachings. Then go for Bede, Venerable Bede. As I told you that he has an ecclesiastical history of England. So Bede has simply the first scholar of English literature. He is called the first scholar of English literature and has been regarded as the father of English learning. Also called the father of English learning. And then we talk about his famous work, Ecclesiastical History of England, Ecclesiastical History of Britain. Then we have Alfred the Great. I told you the King of Essex, Alfred the Great. He wrote Anglo-Saxon Chronicle, very important book. Anglo-Saxon Chronicle, very important book. King Alfred the Great. And then we have one more name, technically not important, but we teach in the notes so that you always have material with you. एक नाम और है Alferic, but from my side I say it's not very important. Alferic. So technically no need to read. And he has written religious works and translated. So Greek and Latin works translated in England. Technically no need to read it. Now friends, I have simply given you just one or two pages here. I just wanted you to write down these things. You're working hard, you're watching my video, you deserve to know these facts. So around some more pages are there, we'll be using it next lectures if required, if needed. I also suggest you, if you have this copy and you're an online student, then you don't have to write these things, you already have everything. Just revise these things and nobody can stop an exam. So guys, I hope you have loved it. We will be meeting for more lectures. We'll be going for more lectures. My aim is to make you understand how to start your preparation. We have suffered a lot in Corona. June end we will have our net exam, or most probably we will have our net exam in the first month of July, the first 15 days. So either June end or around 15th of July we are going to have our net exam. So let this exam be your final exam. Go hit get JRF. Thank you so much. Thank you.